It's the final home game of the season as Florida State takes on Alabama State at noon right here inside Doak Campbell Stadium. Lane Hurt, Tim Linefelt, your Nole insiders here for your game preview. Huge victory for the Noles last week. A tumultuous week, to say the least, for those players, but they came out, got the win. They're at 5, need this one against Alabama State. That gets them to 6 and bowl eligible. How big of a deal is that for the Seminole team?
Well, I mean, it is. You got to have it. You want to think about how not fun it is to miss out on the postseason. Just go back to last year. You're home for the holidays, all that kind of stuff. Nowhere than anywhere that any college football player wants to be. So yeah, I mean, look, obviously Florida State and this program has much bigger goals and aspirations and standards than simply making a bowl, but you can't go beyond that step without first achieving that step, and so to be able to get there and it looks like they have a pretty good opportunity to do that. It is a first step.
This is game number 2 for Odell Haggins as interim head coach this season. You kind of sensed it in the press conference on Monday that there were some small changes made to the program in that week. Now we get another week, and you get a bye week, and then the Florida game. Do you expect to gradually see a few extra changes made to this team with Odell as head coach?
I don't know what they'll change too much. I think some of the stuff he said on Monday I thought was interesting as far as, it sounded like things were pretty collaborative with the coaching staff last week and getting together with him and the offensive and defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, and kind of mapping things out, some situational things and some kind of big picture stuff that everybody could be on the same page with going into the game. I think you'll continue to see that, but I don't know that there's going to be any big time like wholesale sweeping type of changes with the way that things are done. But I do think, you see maybe Odell getting a little bit more comfortable in this role. It's a second stint having it, and maybe getting to a little bit of a rhythm with his responsibilities and managing the team, managing the public part of it with the media and the coaches shows and all that kind of stuff. And you feel like maybe he's getting a little bit better of a feel for it too. So I'll be curious to see how that shows itself if it does at all. But I think this game coming up is pretty straightforward, and then you get 2 weeks to prepare to go down to Gainesville and try to pull off an upset down there. So things are setting up about as nicely as they can for the team right now, I think.
Final home game also means senior day, as Florida State will honor its senior class. Tim, Odell said it himself. It's always kind of a weird feeling when you step on the field knowing it's your final game inside Doak. How important is it for the senior class to come out and not only get that win, but maybe for a few of them have that special moment in that game?
Yeah, it is, man. And look, it's something that everybody goes through, and Odell said it best when he remembers being out here in the mid-1980s as a freshman thinking, I'm never going to graduate. I'm never going to get out of here. And, 30 years later, here you are. And it's the same deal for some of these guys that have been here for the last 4 or 5 years. You're out there as a freshman and you think these 4 years is going to take forever, and then it never does. It always gets here. And so it's an interesting group. They've been through a lot. 2 coaching changes, multiple stints with an interim head coach, in and out of the postseason. It's been hard, but Odell said it, and I think he's right. Is that all those guys that are here and that are going to be honored on Saturday, they stuck with this program, they stuck with this team when they didn't necessarily have to, and when it wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do so. They hung around, they bought into a new head coach, they committed themselves, and it certainly would be appropriate for the fan base and community to come out and give those guys a little show of respect on Saturday.
And Tim's exactly right. It's Florida State, Alabama State, games at noon. You can check your local listings for what channel that game will be on. But if you are here in Tallahassee or close by, get in the stadium, support those seniors, support your Seminoles. Big game for the Noles as they look for win number 6 on the season, get to that bowl eligibility. We'll have much more after the game as usual, but for now, we're going to wrap things up. For Tim, I'm Lane. Go Noles.